Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. I'm Bruce Cadden, Rabbi Emeritus of Temple Beth. Rabbi Gorbin and a number of our teenagers are in New York City for the weekend. They attended services at Central Synagogue with Rabbi Angela Warnick-Buchdahl, who grew up here, so I'm sure they had a wonderful Shabbat experience, and we'll have a great weekend there. And it's delighted to lead services again with Deb Friedman. And she's going to introduce our opening song.
Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach a song that we will do later in place of Misha Berach. And the words are very simple. We may stumble, we may fall. We are human after all. We may stumble, we may fall. When we stumble, hear our call. Can you do that? It goes like this. We may stumble, we may fall. We are human most of all. We may stumble, we may fall. When we stumble, hear our call. And here's the chorus. Catch us in your arms and hold us in your hands. Shelter us with love and guide us as we stand. And go back to the part you know. We may stumble, we may fall. We are human most of all. We may stumble, we may fall. When we stumble, hear our call. It's as simple as that. And I hope you don't.
All right, so now we'll continue on page 10 with Ma Yafeh Hayom to welcome Shabbat.
Okay. Sing with me. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Now this time let me hear you. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
We'll now continue back on pages 2 and 3 with the Shabbat candlelighting, and I'd like to invite up Donna McKay-Randozzi to lead us in the candlelighting. So if the mic is still on, or if we need to turn it on again.
Right, my forehead.
There you go. I think it's still on, actually.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Oh, there it is. Sorry. I could have an A. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Shalom.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom.
We have much to celebrate, of course, first and foremost Shabbat, but also the news of a ceasefire that, God willing, will begin on Sunday with the release of 33 hostages and Palestinian prisoners, and hopefully the beginning of a more permanent peace. We are also beginning the weekend where we will celebrate Martin Luther King Day on Monday. During the service, I'll share a few words that he has shared at various times that seem appropriate. And of course, we will have the inauguration of Donald Trump also on Monday. And I'll have more to say about all of that later. But now to celebrate Shabbat, we'll continue on page 20 with L'chad Odi, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'litila. L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha, Ki makor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'makshavat chila. L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hit'oreri, Kiva ore, Kumi uri, Shir daberet, Kavod Adonai olayit nigla. L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Bo'oi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, Toch emunei am sugula, Bo'oi kala. L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chad Odi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Will you be seated? And now on page 24, we'll continue with Shalom Aleichem, a version by Debbie Friedman, the other Debbie Friedman, of blessed memory, and with an extra verse that's not in the traditional Shuvchem L'Shalom.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malchei Hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Shalom Alechem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchoni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Shalom Alechem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Shalom Alechem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Alechem, Shalom Alechem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Now on page 26.
No little ones.
Yitkada v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi. Ve'amad divrach hirtei v'yamlik malkotei. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'v'zman karim ve'imeru. Yehei shmei Rabba Mavora, Le'alam ulam me'amaya, Yitbarak, Yitbarak v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalah, Shemei dekudashah b'rihu, Le'la min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechamata, Damiran bi'alma ve'imaru. Amen.
We rise, page 28 for Baruch Hu.
Lai, 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 Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please join me now in the Hebrew on page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma poteach sha'arim, u'v'tivuna mishaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'msader et hakochavim, b'mishmaratehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ma'ariv aravim. And a reading from Dr. King to lead us into Shema and V'ahavta. Love yourself if that means rational, healthy, and moral self-interest. You are commanded to do that. That is the length of life. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. You are commanded to do that. That is the breath of life. But never forget that there is a first and even greater commandment. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and all thy might. This is the height of life, and when you do this, you live the complete life.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'veitecha uv'lachtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu latotafot bein einecha uktaltam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kadoshim le'Eloheihem ani Adonai Eloheihem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim V'hiyot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Now together at the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. And at the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and raise up to your will. Baruch atah Adonai, ha-porei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Now on page 44, we join together in celebrating Shabbat with Bishamru.
Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. B'nei B'nei Israel, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheishat yamim asa Adonai, Asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam.
Please rise rise in body or spirit as we continue with the tefillah, beginning on page 46 and then continuing on pages 48, 50, and 52.
Sing with me.
Sure.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chazarim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii geula lifnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo ve'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'elam Adonai, Mechayei akol atarav le'oshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somek noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidahu mehalach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh ha'akol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'kol yom yahalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el ha'kadosh.
We continue privately now through page 61 with either words on the page or words from your own heart. few words from Dr. King leading into Oseh Shalom on page 62. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice.
Oseh Shalom, Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Israel, Ve'imru Amen. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Amen. Oseh Shalom, Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel, ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Israel, amen.
We continue now with blessings, prayers for those in need of healing. The melody We May Stumble that Deb introduced at the beginning of the service. So as my hand passes, please share the names of those who especially need healing prayers now.
Shofet, Jerry, others.
Charles Watkins, Richard Watkins, Nora Hacker and the Hacker family, Herb Levine, Sonia Anstead, Sean Rathel, David Shelby, Angela Smith and Tammy Sorrow, Linda Leonard, people in Ukraine, the people of Lebanon and Syria, the people of Israel, the people of Palestine, and our unhoused neighbors.
Matan Ballin, Mark Cadden, Michelle Alouche. In other words, we may stumble.
We may stumble, we may fall, we are human most of all. We may stumble, we may fall, when we stumble, hear our call. Catch us in your arms and hold us in your hands. Shelter us with love and guide us as we stand. We may stumble, we may fall, we are human most of all. We may stumble, we may fall, when we stumble, hear our call.
Deb is too modest to say that she wrote those words in music.
Wow.
Beautiful. So now share words of blessing and things that wonderful that happened this past week. So if you have something, I'll come around the mic. Stacy.
After putting it off for like 2 months now, I finally got my chain fixed so I can wear my mug in David.
Awesome.
My grandchild B qualified for a National Honors Scholarship.
Awesome. That's great. Anything else?
My girlfriend made the dean's list for her law school.
Very nice. So I forgot to mention this last week, so it's sort of old news, but I was accepted to a program at Yad Vashem this summer for those who teach the Holocaust at university level. So excited to be going the first couple weeks of June. Thank you all. Join together in the blessings for gratitude. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov v'hametiv. It has been quite a week with the emotions going from elation at hearing that a ceasefire had been reached, to disappointment when there appeared to be complications in the agreement, to cautious optimism as the Israeli cabinet approved the agreement earlier today. Now we wait in anticipation of Sunday, when 33 hostages are set to be released at long last. At the same time, Israel will release 95 prisoners, most of whom were arrested after October 7th, 2023, although none were directly involved in that attack. As the ceasefire goes into place, Israel will begin withdrawing some of its forces from Gaza, although it will maintain a presence along the Philadelphia corridor, the strip of land along the border of Gaza and Egypt. If things go as planned, this ceasefire will last for 42 days, during which time efforts will be made to begin a permanent agreement, which will include the release of the remaining hostages and a permanent ceasefire. So it is clear there's still a long way to go before this conflict ends. And in addition to that conflict, there's still the ongoing conflict with Hezbollah in Lebanon, which has a shaky ceasefire, and the continuing development of the new regime in Syria and what that might mean for Israel. So while we have much to be grateful for this Shabbat, we should not be too overjoyed. Yes, 33 precious lives will be free and 95 Palestinians will be able to return to their homes and families, but much remains up in the air. In addition, this Monday we honor one of the greatest Americans of all time, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is, I think, fittingly ironic that this year we will honor Dr. King on the day on which Donald Trump will be inaugurated for a second term as president. Some, of course, are very much looking forward to another Trump presidency. Most of us, however, are quite fearful about what will happen in the days, weeks, months, and years ahead. We've seen this movie before, and we know that the sequel is almost always worse than the original. I want to reflect this evening on Dr. King's legacy and how that legacy might inspire us to remain hopeful about what is happening in Israel and at this difficult time in our nation's history. Dr. King lived at a particularly difficult time in our country for his fellow African American citizens. Jim Crow was alive and well in the South, and most Southern politicians and law enforcement agents were doing everything in their power to ensure it would continue. Brown versus the Board of Education had been unanimously decided by the Supreme Court in 1954, barring racial segregation in public schools, but that was still the norm in much of the country. Although Congress had passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964, prohibiting discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or natural origin, and the Voting Rights Act in 1965, prohibiting racial discrimination in voting, systematic efforts prevailed in an effort to prevent enforcement of these laws in many states. Dr. King would not let these efforts discourage him. He had experienced the long, brutal history of racial discrimination in the South and efforts to prevent him and his supporters from demonstrating against it. In 1963, he was arrested in Birmingham, Alabama, as he protested discrimination there. In that jail cell, he wrote a passionate letter to his fellow clergy who had said that his actions were, quote, unwise and untimely. He was accused of being an outsider, but he would not back down. He wrote in that letter, "I am in Birmingham because injustice is here." He cited the biblical prophets who left their homes to speak God's words, condemning the people for acting unjustly toward their fellow human beings. He continued by reminding his readers of the interconnectedness of all communities. Quote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Anyone who lives inside the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its bounds." These words should ring out as loud and clear today as when he wrote them more than 60 years ago. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And I would add that an attack on anyone is an attack on everyone. We in the Jewish community have experienced a significant increase in anti-Semitism in this country since October 7th, and have sadly had too few allies in our efforts to combat it. But that should not deter us from continuing to build and maintain coalitions with others to fight discrimination and attacks on other minority communities. As we wait to see what will happen next Monday and beyond, we must commit ourselves to standing up for all our brothers and sisters. We must stand with African Americans and other minorities. We must stand with immigrants and those who seek asylum. We must stand with members of the LGBTQ+ community, especially those who identify as transgender, who are being singled out for discrimination at this time. We must stand with our Muslim brothers and sisters, even as we disagree with regard to the conflict in Israel and Gaza and the rest of the Middle East. For only if we stand together, only if we support one another, will we be able to challenge the forces that are in place to systematically challenge all those who are deemed to be true Americans. We must be prepared to stand up to those who would attempt to make this into a Christian nation, ignoring the protections of religious freedom enshrined in the Constitution. And we must be prepared to stand up to those who are attempting to undermine the basic democratic principles in our nation. Dr. King would often remind his audience that our world hinges on moral foundations. If we ignore these basic truths, we are revolting against God. We need people who will stand for right and goodness. As we look ahead, there's no doubt that we will be called to stand for right and goodness, to speak out against injustice, against efforts to undermine the core values of our country. We cannot give in to despair, no matter how bad it gets. We cannot turn away from our world, even when it is painful to see what is happening. This week in our tradition, we begin reading the book of Exodus. We are reminded first of the 70 sons of Israel who came down to Egypt. And then we are told that the people greatly multiplied to fill the land. This triggered the concern of the new king, who knew not Joseph, and decreed that the Egyptians should deal shrewdly with the Israelites, enslaving them. When this did not stop the people from increasing, Pharaoh ordered the Hebrew midwives to kill every male. We know the rest of the story, how the brave midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, refused to obey the directive of Pharaoh, risking their lives. And we know the story of the birth of the one baby boy who was hid in the Nile by his mother Yochebed and found by Pharaoh's daughter, who named him Moses, and was raised in the palace as her own son, even though she must have known he was a Hebrew child. There are so many acts of bravery in these first few chapters of Exodus, acts that should inspire us as we may be called upon to stand up to injustice. Later in the book of Exodus, Moses and his brother Aaron will go directly to Pharaoh and demand on behalf of God, "Let my people go." And although Pharaoh stubbornly refuses, they will not back down, and with God's support, will eventually lead the people out of Egypt through Sinai into the Promised Land. Despite all that Moses did for our people, he was not allowed to enter the Promised Land, although he was allowed to look at it from the other side of the Jordan River. Dr. King, too, never made it to the promised land of racial equity, but he affirmed that he had been to the top of the mountain and had seen the promised land. Dr. King's stand cost him his life, as has so many others who have worked for peace and justice, who have been martyred, including President Anwar Sadat of Egypt and Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin of Israel. Would these great leaders say that it was worth it? I suspect the answer would be only if their legacy lived on and future generations continued what they started. In some ways, that has taken place, both in this country and in Israel and the Middle East, but there is still a long way to go. The ceasefire will temporarily bring the fighting and loss of life to a halt, but it is only the one important but small step toward a lasting resolution to the conflict that has gone on far too long and cost far too many lives. There are still many people on both sides who would prefer to continue the hostilities rather than seriously explore the possibility of a lasting peace. Those who understand that Israel can never live in peace unless the Palestinians have a state of their own must insist that this is the only way forward. And those amongst the Palestinians who understand that they will never be able to live in peace unless there is an agreement with Israel that promises peace. And they too must speak out and insist that their leadership find a way to end this conflict. There are so many reasons to believe that this will not take place, but we cannot give up hope. Israel's national anthem, Hatikva, the hope, looks forward to the day when we will be a free people in our land. We can only truly be a free people in our land when peace and justice reigns for Israel and for the Palestinians. And as Americans, we can only be a free people in our land when there is liberty and justice for all. These are the challenges we now face. January 19th will be a significant day as the hostages and prisoners are released and the ceasefire takes effect. January 20th will be a significant day as Donald Trump is inaugurated as president. Each is only one day in a long history and only the beginning of the next chapter of those histories. We do not know what lies ahead. We pray that these dates will truly mark a new beginning. But we also know we must be prepared to speak out and act based on our core values and beliefs. May God give us the strength to do so. So I thought that at this point we would join together in the words from a prominent civil rights song, "We Shall Overcome."
There are many verses tonight we're going to overcome. We'll walk hand in hand and will not be afraid. Okay. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart. Oh, deep in my heart. I do believe. I do believe we shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Now we'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe. I do believe we shall walk in hand someday. And now we're not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we are not afraid today. Announcements? Announcements?
Yes. I'd like to invite our president, Kleiner, to share a few words.
So for those of you who weren't here in 1961 or 62, everybody knows Karen Seinfeld. Her husband, Denny, was a freedom rider and came back and talked to us, and it was stunning. 4 years after that, at what is now Camp Swig, I got the extreme honor to study with Joan Baez, to do nonviolent work in and around all the stuff that he just got done talking about. So it is stunning how things just keep going down. And that's a few words, Jeff. I'll stop now. On February 22nd from 4 till 7 p.m. Is the coldest night of the year walkathon fundraiser. There will be more information coming up. It's not printed here. It was on the one last week. On February 21st and through the 23rd, we have an artist in residence, Nancy Katz. For those of you who aren't doing anything on Tuesday the 21st, we have an exciting Temple Beth board meeting. You're all invited to attend. It's your birthday? Come and celebrate your birthday with us. And you'll be working. So will I. For those of you who did not notice, out in the social hall, there are lots of things on a virtual auction. Make sure that you see them, bid on them. It is an ongoing fundraiser. As you walk into the social hall, I believe on the right-hand side, there's a table for a food drive for kids at DeLong Elementary. Mishloach Manot fundraisers going on. Who's working on that that's here from Sisterhood? Everybody in sisterhood. Okay? Adria. No, okay. Adult education is starting soon, and on Sunday I had a really good time with Brad, who got to read to all the little kids in Gan. We walked into one of the classrooms trying to figure out where it was and said, "Do you know where the Gan is?" And the kids did not hear that. What they heard was what they were talking about. "Do you know where God is?" And they all said, "Oh my goodness, we just studied that." Shabbat shalom.
So before we continue with the Aleinu, I want to share a prayer upon the return of the hostages. I don't know who it was written by. It was written in Hebrew, translated to English by Levi Moreau, called May It Be. May it be, our brothers and sisters, that just as you showed strength and courage in the terrible inferno, so may you find the strength to heal upon your return, and as you walk the path of recovery. May you be embraced by the tens of thousands of loving hearts that never stopped worrying, hoping, acting, and working for your sake. May it be that we know how to serve as a support and source of strength, material, emotionally, and spiritually, for you and your families. May we together weave the thread of hope for salvation so that your return will proclaim peace and herald good. May it be that we preserve this shared home. May we honor the light revealed in the actions of all those who never stop striving and crying out for your return. May it be that the memory of those we could not bring back safely and those who have fallen in battle remain with us forever, an eternal flame of pain and hope, of sorrow and consolation. May it be that just as the captives have returned today, so too will all captives return, the lives to their homes and the dead to their resting places, the living to their homes and the dead to their resting places in the earth. We will not rest, nor will we be silent until they find rest and peace. May the verse be fulfilled through us, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives. We'll continue now with the Aleinu on page 282, the bottom paragraph. Please rise in body or spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We turn now to Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. One last reading from Dr. King. Maybe I've got the advantage over most people in that I've conquered the fear of death. The quality, not the longevity of one's life, is what is important. If you are cut down in a movement that is meant to save the soul of a nation, then nothing could be more redemptive. Like anybody, I'd like to live a long life, but I'm not concerned about that now. I've been to the mountaintop, so I am no longer afraid. I've been to the top of the mountain and have seen the promised land. Invite you to rise if I read the name of a loved one. Those who are in the period of Shloshim, for Jennifer Hansen, sister-in-law of Rachel Jensen, Bertram Soltoff, uncle of Stacy Soltoff. In this Shabbat, we observe the art sites of Ruth Bernstein, Jack Birnbaum, Cheryl Blazes, Edward Brandt, Dorothy Bray, Bernard Broja, Clara Churapinski, Hugh Frazier, Sally Holland, Wava Hollingsworth, Lucille Isles Hubbard, Gary Katz, Dolph Kleiner, Max Lebid, Sonia Sheeler, Stella Stone Cooper, Marion Trent, Aaron Lewis Wingart. Any other names to share?
Lynn Biller.
Say Zikronam Livracha, may their memories be in blessing. I'd like to invite all to rise if you are able and join together in Mourner's Kaddish.
Yit Gadal, Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yamad Divrach Heroteh, V'yamlich Malchuteh, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayet Kol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav V'zman Kariv, V'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mivarach, Le'lam Olamei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shmei D'Kudusha, Barichu, Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechamata, Da'amiran B'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mroma, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen.
May the Creator of peace in the heavens above create peace for us, for Israel, and for all the world. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Be seated. Before closing song, I want to say thank yous. I think Vivian set up the oneg, right? And who cleaned up? I'm not sure. Stacy and okay. Oh, come to you. And Aaron for the soundboard, Hannah and daughters for the being at the front door, and of course Deborah and Debbie, or Deb and Debbie, however you want to do it. Our closing song will be Don Olam 321. This is a version that Cantor Fine wrote in memory of my first wife, Barbara.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'chef Sochol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Le'acharei Kiklotako, Levado imlok nora, Lehu haya, Lehu hoveh, Lehu heya betifora. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'chef Sochol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'hu Echad Le'en Sheni, La'am Shilo La'achbira, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlit, V'li Aloha Oza HaMizrach, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'ed Nasa, Le'chev Sohol, Azai Melech Shemo Dikra, Ve'hu Eli V'chai Goali, V'tzur Kevli Be'ek Sarah, Ve'hu Nisi Umanos Li, Menakusi B'yom Ekra, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'ed Nasa, Le'chev Sohol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'yadu Afkin Ruchi, Ve'et Ishan Ve'a'ira, Ve'im Ruchi Geviati, Adon Oli Ve'lo Ira, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Le'ed Nasa, Le'chev Sohol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue now with the Kiddush.
Juice.
We have some juice.
I'm a juice.
This is the real stuff.
Oh, no, Debbie's a drinking.
Okay.
You drink,
Oh,
I'm
we have
juice.
juice? Come on.
You get 2 hits.
Thanks.
Force.
Here you go.
Good job.
Got it? Great. And you get one too. Thank you. One too. There you go. Don't drink it yet. We're going to say the blessing. That's it, right?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon hinkilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh l'reishi, ki hu yom tehila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher mitziah Mitzrayim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon hinkaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Drink. We've got challah for everyone, starting with you.
You got this granddad thing down.
Take one for your brother.
Thank you.
Sure.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei avon.
B'tei avon, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.